Damn, son, where'd you find this?
You're listening to Polyrhythmics live on KEXP, songs from their new album, Filter System. Ah, love it. The Polyrhythmics live on KEXP, or just Polyrhythmics. I had that conversation with someone the other day about bands you can never remember whether it's got the or it doesn't, like Talking Heads. It's just Polyrhythmics.
We've had a long history of problems with our name since the very beginning of this band, including the spelling of it, but...
Yes, actually, every time I try to type your name, I get it wrong. But you got the music, and that's what counts. And this new album called Filter System, so wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing those songs with us today.
You're welcome. Thanks so much for having us back.
Always a pleasure. And I understand that Filter System is what you call the way the band arranges and writes music. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, the term filter system kind of came up as we were sort of trying to consolidate sort of what the idea was behind this record. And one of the things that we often come back to when we're making records and mixing records is this collaborative nature of producing the album. So oftentimes we spend a few days tracking and then about 7 to 8 months mixing it, because we have a lot of democratic opinions and figuring, we really try to be collaborative in that process and taking the record from what it started as to where it's finished. And we call a lot of tunes that we consider done, finished up to a point, and then they go in and they go through what is now termed the filter system, which is our own process of trying new ideas, trying different processes on like production, trying new parts, doing all these things that we think up in the middle of the night when we should be doing other things, And we try the good idea fairy, as Nate likes to call it, comes out, and we try all these different ideas, and it goes through the filter and slowly kind of gets reduced to the essence or the nectar that we end up all agreeing on that we like, and that is a fully evolved concept, and we put it out.
Well, it sounds like coming up with a democratic process with 7 people is a time-consuming task, even if you all get along and are kind with one another. But it sounds like a process that has taken time sort of to progress through, and you've had a lot of time playing together. And then during the pandemic, things kind of turned things upside down for a way a lot of people made music. Did that put a kink in the chain at all, or how did that change things for you? Did you have to find new ways to write music?
It definitely put a kink in the chains, to say it lightly. We were kind of full bore on sort of getting out on the road and supporting our most recent records, and kind of just had to put the stop on it and decide whether even to keep releasing music. We had music that was scheduled to come out. We decided to release it anyway during the pandemic, just so that we can kind of flush out the pipes, so that we wouldn't be stuck with that burden as well in terms of holding us back from making more music. Everyone sort of jumped into right away during the pandemic. I'm sure everyone remembers like the feeling of needing connection, right? So we're all learning how to use Zoom and FaceTiming with our family more than we like. And, the process of just trying to regain any kind of feeling of like you're not alone out there, right? And so I think as a band, we were really kind of active on trying to connect with each other, trying to figure out what to do. And we all kind of decided that we were just going to write music that felt good to us, more as individuals than we have in the past, as opposed to collaborating on the writing process. And came up with a lot of different music that wasn't really necessarily inspired by going out and playing live shows and having a dance crowd or a dance floor to engage. More just the music that was coming out of our souls at that time. And we had a bunch of that music, but towards the end of the pandemic, and we decided to record it. And that process was way different than we normally do, in the sense that we were doing a lot of remote recording, small group sectionals, lots of COVID tests, deciding whether to wear masks, COVID tests, et cetera. And then, we just kind of got at it till we had the song sort of in rough frameworks. And then, because we had all the time in the world to like sit back and detail every nuance and really go through everything, we spent a long time putting it through the filter system in production, which was also a new process as we're doing it a little bit more remotely. And at the end of it, we felt like we had a record that really sort of captured where we were at in that moment, continuing to try to make music, continuing to try to push it forward, continuing to try to still be friends and business owners and a collaborative group that we are. We just sort of shifted where the collaboration happened more to the end of the record than the beginning of the record.
Well, it's interesting. You just touched on that a little bit, but it seems to me that you road test your songs quite a bit in the past. And do you feel like you had to rely and trust yourself more to know, this is what it's going to sound like? We really haven't played it in front of an audience, and we don't have that feedback. We haven't been able to sort of adjust it or make changes in terms of how people respond to it. You just had to go with what this group thought was best.
Yeah, it was completely different for us. And that the last bit of the filter system usually is the audience reaction. It's like, if the hips are shaking, then it's probably going to work. It's sort of like a little bit of a test and sort of what the reaction is in the crowd. And even if we think and then sometimes when we go out on the road and try those things and we don't get the reaction that we thought, then the good idea fairy, is Nate likes to call it again, comes out, and we start to go through a lot of different ideas of how we could rework it to try to get some kind of reaction that's different. This record, we didn't have that at all. I think I personally had no idea what people would think of it. I had lost kind of all perspective on terms of like, is this music, does it sound like Polyrhythmics? Is it a Polyrhythmics record? Any of that. But we just had to put it out. This collective group, we work very hard together on the democratic process and really trying to get everyone's ideas in there, that I feel like whenever we have a record or an idea that's not fully fleshed out or it's not completely done, we're constantly going back to that project and spending energy on it. So we have to record and get it out before we can do the next one. And we finally just decided, let's do it. And so we did it. And now we've been out playing through the fall. We've been playing this music, and we've definitely been reworking some of the arrangements of stuff so that it translates better live, giving more room for new soloists to kind of emerge and new ideas, and trying to take a little bit of that feeling that we had when we made the music so that we can still deliver that feeling, but also incorporate the new world that we live in now and the feelings that we're getting both from the audience and from ourselves.
Well, you definitely get those hips shaken, Ben. You've said we have a love affair with making people move their bodies, and that's definitely something this band can do. And at least there were 7 hips that could be shaken, so they could give you some validation there. But I just keep thinking about how there was never really a plan for this to become a band. You just came together with a recording project with an intent to make some music and maybe go your separate ways. And when you started playing live, the audience it blew their mind, and you're like, all right, I guess we'll roll with this. And here we are over a decade later. Do you feel like it's the audience that has kept you going?
I feel like it has to be a little bit of, it's hard to say. Everyone in this band could lead any band, could write their own music. There's nothing really holding anyone back from doing that, except for the fact that when we do this thing that we do together, it creates something really special that it's not just like us being like, hey, we're really cool. Like we go out and when we see like that people are really moved by it, and it really, we get some amazing messages just about where the music takes people and how important it is to them. And a lot of times in our darkest sort of points, we kind of you know, we lean into that being like, it's not like an obligation. It's sort of what we're here to do. You know, this is what we need to do. And I think that the audience, if nobody liked the music, it probably wouldn't still be going. That's the truth. I mean, when we started as a recording project in the very beginning, the goal was to make a record because that's what we want. We were really into vinyl and we wanted to make a record. When people started buying that record and collecting it and passing it on to their friends, that's when sort of it was like, oh, we can still make recordings and keep putting them out, and there'll be maybe more people that'll hear them. The live show also sort of hit us at the same time. People were getting turned on to the music, and that was sort of spiraling the whole thing. They were turning their friends onto the records, and then they would buy the records, and we're like, we feel like we're getting away with something, you know, because really we were just hoping to make a record and call it good. But we're thankful for the audiences. We're thankful to see them grow. We're thankful for the audience that we've had here in Seattle for 12 years now. It's just been amazing. And with a little bit of everyone's effort, this band will keep firing and keep making more records.
Well, you have made another beautiful record. It's called Filter System. And thank you so much for bringing these songs to the KEXP airwaves today.
Yeah, you're welcome.
We're here live with Polyrhythmics in the KEXP studio. We want to thank the band so much for sharing this new album with us. And thanks to all of our listeners and viewers for making these sessions possible. We are listener-powered. You can find out more about us at KEXP.org and make a gift to support discovery of great live music here in the KEXP studios. And subscribe to our YouTube channel to get notification every time we launch a new video. Once again, a big thank you. It's Polyrhythmics live on KEXP.
Thank you.
Discover new music at listener-powered KEXP.org.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?